Go ahead.
Hello, everyone. Welcome to the S&A meeting for today. As you can see on our agenda, we have a couple items. So let's get started. I call this meeting to order at 5 p.m. Right. First thing up on our agenda is the agenda approval. Is there a motion to approve?
Motion to approve today's agenda.
Okay, is there a second? Any discussion? All right, all those in favor of approving today's agenda, please say aye.
Aye.
The ayes have it, the agenda is approved. Next, I'll give you a few moments to look over the meeting minutes of last meeting. Just let me know when there's a motion to approve.
Motion to approve meeting minutes from last week.
Is there a second?
I'll second.
Any discussion? All right, all those in favor of approving last week's meeting minutes, please say aye.
Aye.
The ayes have it, the meeting minutes are approved. Next is reports, starting with the chair. Public comment. Public comment is open. If anybody would like to say public comment, please speak clearly into that microphone. And please remember to be nice to fellow podcasts. Advisors.
The only report I have to share is, that Barrow and Joel, who we provided our recommendations to, will be providing a response this week. Hopefully that will go out and be shared with everybody. So I just wanted to let you know that's coming, so you all can expect that here shortly. Otherwise, I have provided my time.
So, online or on Zoom.
I'm on Zoom.
Awesome.
Hey, I just want to tell you guys, you guys did a great job handling the last meeting, and you guys are doing, you guys are sacrificing your time and your social life just for the benefit of the school, and you guys are doing a great job.
Next up, we have a CWU S&A reports.
Yes, within the last public meeting, forgive my memory, we did approve the fee increase for the 4% that'll be discussed later on. Additionally, just so you all are aware, the ACWU did pass, are working on a letter, our recommendation. They have a few different thoughts. I don't have that fully yet. They're still working on that. It should be completed soon. So just so you know.
All right, next up is communications received. These will be attached with our meeting minutes when they're posted next week. And now I'll be making my first call for public comment. Is there any public comment? Yes.
I just want to also acknowledge the work that you all have done this year, and it was not paid on your own time, and this is a really challenging time to be in doing reductions. And I think that when you applied your reasoning, I think you did it fairly across all of the areas. And I said it before, but I'm very proud at how you conducted yourself, especially last week when it was really difficult. So thank you all, and great job.
No.
Just got a public comment.
Yes.
Yeah, it's kind of just echoing more of the same, just because I was on the committee 4 years ago too, so I kind of know how that's gone. Just great job kind of taking your time, deliberating that out and being thoughtful throughout the whole process. I know it's not something that's easy to do. So thank you for your time with that.
Any other public comment?
I'll go ahead and reiterate because I was not on the recording. So I just want to say on behalf of I think myself being around for 27 years and being a part of presenting to S&A during that whole time, you all had a very difficult task, and I thought you handled yourself very professionally. And the patience and the ability to allow students to have agency to share their voice, I think just really shows your ability to be professional and be mature and to understand the value of student voice. And I think that just was really showcased last week. So I commend all of you and just think you have done your due diligence. You did the best you could in a very difficult situation.
Thank you. Any other public comment? All right, seeing there is none, we'll move over to our new business. We have a supplemental request 2515 career services. You have the floor.
Great. Did you want me to talk into the mic? Jessica, I want to make sure she can hear.
I can hear you, okay?
You can just
Yeah.
use my regular voice. Okay, then I'll go ahead and start. Robbie's pulling up our slide deck.
Cool.
And this is really related to the upcoming summer. If you all, the proposal and the form online, we tried to do our best to give you as much information as you can have. But as Jessica and I start, Robbie, go ahead and click through the first one. We, as you know, you folks heard our presentation earlier, you know, Meredy Rennick is our assistant director and Jessica is our career counselor at Des Moines. And what we're hoping to do is to ask for supplemental for this summer for July and August. Go ahead and switch to the next one. Just looking at a supplemental request, not full-time, just 0.75, for Jessica to cover online and center students. Without Jessica there's just no one available for center students, and there's usually up to 1,000 that take classes online and at the centers. Go ahead and flip to the next one. And so what our ask is just continue service and accessibility to those students so that they can access Jessica and she can be available for professional document reviews. It's all listed right up there, career counseling, individual counseling. Those interview preps, if any of them are graduated or graduating in summer and they're getting ready to prep for those interviews, she can do mock interviews with them and make sure those professional documents are up and ready to go. The additional piece, go ahead and switch to the next slide. And Jess, this was kind of where you're going to take over, but I do want to talk a little bit before you jump in, okay? And I want to share this. One of the things that's beautiful about summer is you have the ability to kind of work with those students that are online and taking courses over in all the centers. And I also want to share that Jessica has worked with the East Side centers as well. As you all know, those are quite a bit smaller, right, than the West Side. But that being said, they have a large education cohort, and Jessica has done a lot of professional document reviews related to education students, getting them ready for their practicum and those kind of things. So that's what's really wonderful about the summer is she's able to kind of work with those students as well. And it allows us not to have a gap in service. It just continues it for those 6 weeks. And again, not full-time, 0.7. So there is some availability. And what I love about what Jessica's done so far, she's really elevated up the access. Hours available to students after 5, which we know on the centers, non-traditional students have a lot of stuff to juggle, right? They may perhaps be working or they may have dependents, may have family obligations, whatever the case may be. Offering some of that access outside of traditional hours is really valuable. And that's what Jessica is able to provide, which I think really helps. The other thing that I want to shout out for Jessica as well is she already, in just being new to career services, has elevated the outreach by about 64% since fall. That's huge, y'all. That means center students and online students are using both Jessica and Meredy's services. That's huge. We don't want to have a gap in that for summer. And the only other thing, and Jessica, I want you to have some voice here too, is it allows her to prep for fall so that when students come back in fall, there's again, not a gap. Like, okay, I've got just 2 weeks to get all this together before those students get back on campus. I can actually prep some employer panels potentially, or I can prep a workshop or whatever the case may be that they need in regards to getting ready for class presentations, ready, specific to career readiness, right? Some of those things can be prepped in summer. It's a good time. So I just want to say that, Jessica, please jump in. I feel like I took a little bit of this. I want you to have some voice here.
That's okay. I won't reiterate too much of what you said, but yeah, just kind of having that continued service I think is important, especially when we're at a time where we're kind of seeing an uptick in the amount of students that are needing appointments and kind of engaging with our services. dropping off the map for 2 months. It's not something we want to do ideally. As far as like over the summer, I obviously do plan to have like some sort of on-site presence, still have those kind of expanded hours into the evening when folks might need it. Kind of keep that same flexibility for folks that might need it, especially as a lot of our center folks are non-traditional. So kind of keeping that just again, like through the summer months consistent. I feel like Katrina might have touched on some of those other things. So if we want to go to the next slide. Yeah, we talked about prepping for fall as well. Without being in it all over the summer, that makes it a little bit tough to, like we said, kind of set up employer panels, workshops right at the beginning of the year. There's quite a few things that kick off fairly early in the academic cycle. So like in the example of, like we said, the elementary education program, some of those placement applications are due fairly early on, like in the process or right after school starts. So just having that time to kind of engage with students and get their materials ready for that application cycle, I think is really important. Same thing too for just kind of having that continued collaboration with our host campuses for events that they're putting on as well, and finding ways to collaborate and do things that open more opportunities for students. It's just good. Having us only back up in September puts a little bit of a delay on some of those things, I guess is maybe the way to phrase it. And then if we wanted to go to the next one, I think that's just sharing a little bit of the numbers over the last 4 or so years. 700 to almost 1,200 students taking online classes, taking classes either online or at the centers during the summer term. And that's across any of the centers and online. And they're taking roughly an average of 14 credits from what I was able to obtain from our center operations staff manager. So they're taking a decently full load. Maybe they're wrapping up at the end of their degree in the summer or trying to catch up after a transfer, whatever that might be. We definitely still have quite a few in students engaged over the summer months, and this is not ones that are really coded like as Ellensburg students. So we just want to be able to provide ample service for them. That's really kind of the gist of it. I don't know if you have anything else you want to add, Katrina, before we go into like the dollar figure.
Well, I feel like, one of the things I do want to add is, and I lost it. That's what happened. That happens at the end of the day. You have this thought, and it's right there, and then it just leaves, so it might come back. Oh, this is what I did want to share with you all. This is the first time we've come in and asked for supplemental for summer. I've been with Career Services for a couple years. Prior to Jessica coming on board, we did have some salary savings in the last Quantidium, right? And so when we had an open position and had some salary savings, we actually were able to pay for Jessica last summer to do some work. The reason we're coming to you now is we've had full staff for this last year. And so we are at max with the budget cuts and those kind of things. And that's the rationale for the request. So just to give you some clarity, why are we coming this year? We didn't come in previous years in the Quantidium. That's why.
Yeah.
So the request is me. So salary and benefits for July and August at 0.75 is about 9,553. Right? And so again, I feel like I'm being redundant. It's just continuation of service. We don't want students to feel like they have a gap. We want them to reach out. And I think what Jessica's been able to do is provide that point of contact so students know her. That's really valuable. I don't know how you all feel as students, but when you know somebody, it's easier to reach out. Or if you have a colleague or a friend that knows somebody and they go, hey, go to this person because I know them. I think Jessica's built a really positive reputation at the centers. And so we'd like to just continue again to provide that to online centers. Next one. What? Oh gosh, look, we're already on questions. Any questions, any thoughts, perspectives, anything you want to ask Jessica or myself? That would help in his deliberations or decision making?
Well, I just want to say thank you for. Hello. Okay. Thank you so much for your presentation and then. Is there any questions?
It's doing online. How many interactive careers?
Last summer. Now here's, I have to get that data for you. I don't have it right here. I should have been prepped. Okay, let me see if I can find it in my 365, because we did an annual report, so I should be able to grab that. So let me go to my 365 and I'll grab it for you. Oh, Canva actual have it. Okay.
Only question I'm asking.
Was that your question too? Kind of how many in the summer? And I think I want to make sure I reiterate as I'm looking that last summer was Jessica's first summer. So she's building the rep, right? So because we've had that increase of 64% this year with her being consistent, we feel like the numbers are going to increase based on that. Okay, hopefully that makes sense to everyone. Jessica, can you get in Canva? I'm having struggles on my phone.
You just ask if I can get in Canva. I'm so sorry. It was actually cutting out for me and I was typing that up in the chat.
Yes. Yeah, if you can get onto Canva easier if you're at a hard station than me trying to get on my phone. I'm gonna go through another route and see if I can get it in Teams. Okay. Thank goodness we keep good assessments.
We appreciate it.
Okay, data, look at that. That's an A. Here we go. If I can get that. Okay. I'm gonna have to do quick arithmetic here. Okay. Erin, you wanna help me out? 60, 70. About 479. Now that's rough, you know, I'm doing my math in my head. So that was roughly, that's how many contacts, let me make sure I don't want to be all the wrong information. Yeah, that's students. And then, Jessica, did you find a document at all to make sure that? We go back to another document to make sure. This is Jessica last year, when she was brand new, y'all, was 74. So that's individual appointments, that's not workshops or presentations, so please know that's just individual workshops. Okay, does that help a little bit? Okay. And if you want really specific, I'm happy to get that for you. I send it to Robbie and Aaron if you all want it. So just let that one of them reach out. If you want real details, I'll get it.
Sounds good. Any other questions? Did have a question. Will this be something that career services requests every summer as a supplemental request, or will this be kind of
I would,
adjusted into?
that's a great question. In my dream world, I would want it every summer. That being said, I know how budgets are, so we're gonna give it a go this year, and if we can find some additional funding, one of the things we're working on in career services, I'm gonna go on a side tangent, y'all. But one of the things we're working on is corporate sponsorship program. We're working with advancement, trying to get that going. We really want, based on what we're doing around career readiness, to get some support from outside sources. That being said, it takes some time. It takes time to build those relationships with employers, and we have different places. So in the future, I would love to see this become just part of a continuation, not necessarily based on S&A fees, but that's where we're at right now. And again, based on budget, y'all, I don't know what it's gonna look like next month, let alone next year. In full transparency. Jessica, please.
Yeah, no, I think, sorry, and I'm sorry if I missed a question earlier because it was cutting out. I think I was just gonna kind of add to that, like ideally, like we, if we're funded an amount where we can do 12 months all the time, that's great. We fully recognize that's not the situation that we're in right now, right? So that's kind of part of the reason for only coming for like a 0.75 FTE over the summer too. And I think, like doing it year to year like this, I think allows that to be a little bit more flexible and us to kind of ask in an appropriate manner for what is kind of the state of the budget too. So I think that, I don't know, maybe that's just something out there too. Like if we're still in a bit of a rough stage, like, maybe we'd be asking for 0.5. Like we're trying to still be mindful of that and kind of continue the service to students the best we can.
Is there any questions? I just want to double check all of you. I know it's a rough number for. Oh, yes.
Thank you. I just want to make sure Jessica can hear. Thank you.
Have the science questions. Okay. So I know that the 479 was a rough estimate, but are these all, I just wanted to double check, are these all central students or?
Yeah. Yeah, so I will share this with you though, right? And again, trying to be as transparent as possible. You all, when you graduate, pay a small fee. You all knew that, right? And a small fee goes to career services. So we're not gonna turn a alum away. I'll just be straight up with you. If somebody reaches out to any one of our counselors, we're not gonna turn you away once you graduate. That being said, you all pay S&A fees, you pay grad fees, you deserve to get that access for the rest of your life. It's free. So if we have alum that have gone to the centers and have paid that S&A fee or paid that grad fee, we're not going to turn them away. So I just want you to know that very transparently. So yes, they are students, but they could be students that are graduated or alum or present students. The majority are current students. Our alumni connect hasn't increased a ton. So it's predominantly current students right now.
Thank you. Any other questions? Alrighty, thank you so much for your presentation. Yes.
Just to put it on the record, so y'all can help. We are as Career Services Professional Clothing Closet is part of the CWU Day of Giving. We don't want you to pay any money. We just want you to spread the word. Because we bet you there's people out there that would, that are alums or that are friends or family that would be willing to donate $5 or $10. It's helping us really elevate up our professional clothing closet. We've seen a huge amount of traffic increase this year and we're excited by that. But that just means we need help to buy hangers and to buy different things to supplement that clothing closet. So just a shameless plug, spread it on your socials. Okay, professional clothing closet. All right. Thank you,
so
y'all.
much.
Appreciate your time.
Thank you guys.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Yeah, I will say, I really do appreciate career services like creativity and their passion to support students. We're ready and stuff. Thank you.
Well, thank you for that. We try our best, that's for sure. Yes, we are posting on our all our socials, Insta, TikTok, Facebook, LinkedIn. We're all over the place. We're trying to spread the word. Thank you. Hey, y'all, have a great evening. Bye.
Alrighty, next item on our agenda is item 2516, supplemental request from ACW. You have the floor.
Then I guess I'll stand up here.
Yeah.
So this insurance request is specifically for the ACW insurance as well as the ACW BOD insurance. So I'll go ahead and explain that if you want to note down. Yeah, so we projected the budget for the insurance to be roughly $31,500. It came in to roughly $36,169. So the request is just covering that expense of $4,669. And the reason for the increase, at least for the ACW annual insurance, is the increase in students within RSOs and ACWU. And what that covers is basically within the RSO, say you attend one of their meetings, and you somehow chop off 3 fingers, you won't have to pay that out of pocket. This insurance would cover that. And same thing with ACW, if you somehow chop 3 fingers off, 4 fingers, you wouldn't have to pay that out of pocket as a student. So that's what this insurance covers. And this is a different or a little bit of a wrong title, but what the ACW insurance covers is basically ACW, if any of the board members breaks OPMA and gets a fine for however much, they don't necessarily have to pay that themselves. This insurance would cover that. Yeah, that's basically all I had. I could go further into detail onto the insurance as well. The insurance, at least the annual insurance, is basically based on last year's RSO's numbers. So last year's was 1,705 students. So that is one of the reasons for the increase. Part of that also is because of COVID. When COVID hit, lower enrollment, or not lower enrollment, lower participation within RSOs, ACWU, which led to a decrease in the cost. And as we're exiting COVID, that cost is increasing as more students are getting involved in RSOs and ASWU. But yeah, that kind of sums up the request. And any questions?
How many students does this cover? You know,
This covers all students that basically are in RSOs and sign the liability waiver. So from last year's numbers, it was 1,705 students. This year, I'm not quite sure.
so if I just showed up like a meeting, when cover me if I had some library ability waiver beforehand.
If you have it wouldn't cover you. You would have to sign that waiver. That I'm not sure. It may be on the RSO website, or as you attend RSOs, they also may hand that out as well.
It's like, I know probably it's not the case, but when students sign a liability waiver like twice, like, or they're in multiple different clubs.
No insurance, no. I'm
Okay.
kidding. It only works once, so once you sign it, you're good. But if you sign it multiple times, that doesn't really do much. It's just a repetitive document at that point. OPMA is Open Public Meeting Act, so say we don't post in advance our public meetings. We basically break OPMA and we possibly could get fined. That's just one example.
So I mean, another example used is kind of extreme, but this is probably a pretty good idea just because it could be something as simple as tripping over, like, you know, this cable over there or something like that.
Yes.
There's a lot of liability. Thanks.
Is this, do you expect it to be higher again next year, and how is that incorporated into next year's budget, given that you're taking further reduction next year?
Yes, at least within the BOD budget, this will be one of the largest costs. And talking to Tony from the business services that handles insurance contracts and so on and so forth. They mentioned that it would likely increase on a 50% annual basis. So given this number, it would likely increase by 15%. So at least for that, oncoming years, we may also be doing that request as well. If it does increase, hopefully it doesn't, but we are projecting that it would increase by 15%.
So does it potentially change just based off like the insurance charges they do? Because I mean, like, for example, car insurance has gone up pretty drastically in the last year, so.
Yes, that may be the case, at least for the whole, how they decide the base rate, that may change per student, but then again, that's kind of out of my level of knowledge.
And I'm not sure. The increase is like, so insurance costs, but also.
Yes, it's largely due, or to correct myself. It's largely due to the increase in the number of students within RSOs and ACW. The base rate, in from my knowledge, hasn't changed, but it may change in the future, which is why we're projecting a 15% increase each year. It's in the hundreds. I don't know the exact number, but it's like 170. I may have to double check, but there's quite a few clubs.
No, there's sports.
RSOs. So clubs, I believe, as a whole.
There's 183.
Slightly.
Last year. Did a liability and risk waiver, but then they never went to a club again with based on that. So,
My understanding is on a yearly rolling basis, so each year you would have to sign it, but again, that is out of my scope of knowledge, so I can get the answer to you, but I don't have it.
Any other questions? Thank you, Sue, for not letting us cut all of our fingers off. Go further. Next item on our new business is the S&A fee increase discussion. I do need some help from my advisors. What is that?
So, when we did the allocation, then that was based on, a 4% increase to the fee. That request has been moving through the process. It went from the committee to ASCWU. And after a couple of meetings and talking it through, then that was approved last Wednesday morning at 7 a.m. And so then today it made its way to the PBAC, which is the President's Budgetary Advisory Committee, where they discussed it, and the next step will be onto the Board of Trustees in May to be fully approved. If I would expect it to be approved, I mean, I can't say for sure, but there's nothing that indicates that it will not be. So the good news for the committee is that you won't have to try to cut another 211,000 yet. See, unless it doesn't get approved.
Is the last step.
Correct, they're the approving body, so everybody, like you all recommend, yeah. You all recommend, and then it goes through some advisory pieces. And then the Board of Trustees will be the final approval. Does anybody have any questions about that process or?
Thank you so much. So would you like us to discuss?
Yeah.
Or?
There's not, it's really more of just kind of a point of, could be discussion, just kind of just a more of an informational, you all have done the work already to get to the point of sending that forward. So this is just more of like an informational piece to let you know where that is in the process and what's next.
Are there any points of discussion or any questions?
And the so that's for the fee. The recommendation is also on the same path. So hopefully by May, we know.
Seeing that there is no more discussion on this item, we'll move into old business. Seeing there's no old business, we'll move forward with public comment. Is there any public comment? Yes.
I would just like to take the opportunity in the second public comment to again recognize all of your efforts and to just point out that this is a very difficult time for Central with budget cuts. Listening to some of the other funding groups trying to make these decisions, then it's very challenging, and the work that you all did is really not only impressive, but it's sort of inspiring, I think, you know, which it's not about, you know, the cuts, and there's a lot of feelings, but it's really about trying to make a educated and reasonable allocation of the funding. And I just think that you guys work so hard, and really, I just want to applaud you.
Any other public comment? Yes.
Speaking of Board of Trustees, I really encourage, if you all are not in class, I don't want to encourage skipping class because it's being recorded. But if you can attend the Board of Trustees meeting, it's a public open meeting. You can see how they make decisions, how the agenda goes. It's really a great experience. And Eli, off the record, can talk about his experience of being on as a student trustee.
It's a great opportunity for that. Once I know the final agenda of like when they're actually voting on budgets and stuff, I will share it with Robbie to share with you all so that you can attend and you can see how the process is. That way you see the full thing from the moment that you had to deliberate all the way to where they have to vote and you can participate in that way. So I'll make sure to get that information to you. Thank you again.
Any other public comment? All right, seeing that there is no more public comment, I am looking for a motion to adjourn today's meeting.
Adjourn today's meeting.
Is there a second?
I'll second.
Any discussion?
No discussion.
See that there is no more discussion. All those in favor of adjourning today's meeting, please say aye.
Aye.
The ayes have it. This meeting is adjourned at 5:35 p.m.